Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Coach Glenn's Video Tips. Let's get started and check out the action. Okay, good situation here to start with. I always love these switching situations because they're one of the more challenging things for players to deal with. Here's a case in point. Kelly hits the volley to Barb. Laura's not charging in there because we know how good of a lobber Barb is, and sure enough, she goes right over Kelly's head. And this is where the action comes into play because Barb has put everybody on the defensive. And I would say Karen and Barb right now, it would be to their benefit to obviously come in behind those as Laura's dealing with this defensive shot. Here's a case in point, everybody, just to be mindful of, Kelly's position here, because we all get caught in this position where we look for too long of a time back at the ball, where it's important to realize what these people are doing on the other side of the net. Are they coming in? And if they are coming in, how far are they coming in? And so usually from this position, a player will throw up a lob. Let's see what Laura does with this shot. And the lob goes up. And because Karen and Barb were not up there yet, Kelly's in a very safe position on her service line there. I don't know if Karen can hurt her with this shot, but let's see. She moves up, kind of plays a little bit of an overhead there, and makes the shot. Wow, what a shot, Karen. Yes. Usually in these situations, after the lob has been hit, if Karen's in there a little bit closer at a sooner point, what she's looking at is this hitting zone, which is a much higher percentage area to hit to than the shot she actually hit, which was a very nice shot. But this is going to pay more dividends for you, is to get into position earlier and access that middle of the court with your bigger target to be able to hit to. So let's move on forward here. This is what I really like. The serve went wide, pulled Kelly out, and look where Laura went right into the center of the court. Her focus is right on that net person, as it should be. It shifts back into the court. Barb sends it out wide again. Great shot. Okay, interesting point here. Okay, so there's Laura. She is glued on Karen at the net, not really worried about her partner returning the serve. She knows Kelly can handle herself back there. Okay, she sees the ball going over there. Little bit of a late start. She wants to get in there. Now she's on her way in. She's still on this, and you can see Laura's still on the service line. Watch what happens to her, because Laura's moving in there and she wants to play offense, and she sees this area opened up between the two of them. But to get to that area, we've got to get to that ball while it's sitting up. And you can see what happens is, but not quite being there in time, the ball's able to settle down below the level of the net. Now she's playing up. What's interesting here is Karen was backing up on this, but try to be aware of where you are in the court, because at this point you would want to be a little bit closer into the center, Karen. And as far as backing up, good thing, but always cover those bigger targets and make sure your opponents beat you to the little targets. Let's move on. Okay, oh, I love this one. Let's back this up a little bit. This is one of my favorite things that I see out there, where the return goes cross court, and when you're this net position, you want to get an understanding of how that ball goes across the net and how much angle is really put behind it, because at this point the return is going wide into the corner of the court. You can see where the ball is right now. It's pretty much on the single sideline. So Barb is backing away. And, that old standard of moving with your partner, well, it really is true. Barb is backing away from the center, and Karen at this point needs to be sliding over a bit more at this point, because what Kelly's eyeballing here is this area into the court right here. She can just see the Grand Canyon, and she's just hoping to get her racket on a ball and go to somewhere in that area of the court. Let's see what happens with this ball. Sure enough, Barb goes up the line. And again, Kelly is so aware of things, and she's right there looking at the middle of the court. And I have a funny feeling this volley's going right across the tee here. And sure enough, there it goes. And that's the value of good positioning, Karen, because envision if you'd been closer into the tee there, you have a better play on that, or possibly Kelly rethinks what she's doing with the ball and might try to do something else. She went for the high percentage play because there was such a big gap in there. So let's move on and move forward. Watch a couple more points here. So, great movement at the nets for the net players there. Okay, now let's back this up again. All right. And here's what's going to happen. Barb's going to send up a lob over Laura's backhand shoulder. And when your partner does throw up this kind of lob over the backhand shoulder, number one, obviously a tough shot for any player. But from when you're in Karen's position here is understanding when a ball is hit from Laura's position, that angle of deflection off of that 80 to 90% of the time is going right across the center of the court. And so as far as positioning, if Karen can get herself more into the center of the court here and give up this little target and cover the big target in here, that would be of more value. So let's see where that ball goes. Laura naturally goes across the center. And that's a ball that possibly, if Karen was more in the center, maybe she would have been, taking a volley off of that. But by not being there, Barb is now taking the ball on the bounce. Let's see how this finishes up here. We all had a good laugh on that. Here we go. Okay, and this is a good one to finish on right here. Okay, Laura's looking to intercept. Barb adjusts her return, sends it out wider. Laura cannot get it. Kelly hits a solid forehand cross court. And now let's watch what happens here. This is the interesting point. This is where Kelly's ball, Barb hits a good wide ball and Kelly does her best with it, but the ball goes, her shot comes off a racket to the person in front. And at this point, with Kelly sliding over like this, the question is, did this person slide over? Which didn't happen here. That's okay. And, whenever you're in this position here, when you're in Karen's position, even, as Kelly's playing this ball, she's also eyeballing this space in here and understanding if she gets her racket on it, that's her target area. And let's move this forward. Let's see what happens. And sure enough, Kelly's not able to get the ball away from Karen, and Karen already sees where her target is. Their big target is right through the center, but there's nobody home. Where does that ball go? Right through the center. and Kelly and Laura having a good laugh over that one. Okay, and that's where positioning is just so darn critical in this game, being in the right spot at the right time. And that's really the cause for a lot of whether you win a point, you're catching your opponents out of position, and when you're losing the majority of your points, you're getting caught a little bit out of position. So, lesson learned. That was great doubles last Thursday, and my intention here is to start using a lot more video in the future. I'll be in touch with all of you soon to pitch something to you guys where we can get together off and on and do some video work like this to fine-tune our game. So thanks for your time, and great doubles, everybody. Bye-bye.